it on for?
Who would be a Wolves fan, eh? On goes ball. People might yet win it here for Wolves. Blasting the shot. What a goal!
Good evening, Wolves fans. It's little Dan here hosting your latest Wolves Fancast episode. We'll be talking about last night's 2-0 win over Gillingham in the Carabao Cup, previewing Saturday's Premier League return away to Everton Saturday at 3 p.m. On tonight's episode, I've got with me Tom and Jeffo and former Wolves and Everton striker Michael Branch. I'll come to you, Michael, first. How are things in life? How are you going?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. All good. All set for Christmas now. All the wrapping's done already.
Got the tree up behind you. Just had your Christmas party.
The missus done that, not me.
I'm on a Wolves YouTube channel talking about football. What more could you want in life?
Yeah, exactly. Thanks,
Tom, Jeffo. Obviously 2-0 win away at home to Gillingham last night in the Carabao Cup. Not the greatest performance. Definitely wasn't iconic that many people remember in the future, but we did what we had to do. Jeffo, what was your thoughts on the performance?
Yeah, I thought it was, as you say, wasn't much to watch, and we weren't great, but we got it done. And I say, one of me or Stu had to come on to feel the wrath of our audacious claims from the preview show. And mine of Diego Costa has to retire if he doesn't score against Gillingham. I've come on here now to say, Diego, come on now, you got time to hang up your boots, lad. If you can't do it against Gills, then you ain't doing it anywhere. But no.
It was a frustrating night for Diego Costa, but it's been sort of a repeat of months gone by that our strikers just don't get the service that any half decent striker needs. Tom?
No, I agree. Yeah, if you're not breaking down Gillingham, you've got problems. I know they put all the men behind the ball like they possibly could, but a team with £40 million players should be breaking them down without too much problem, to be honest, and we just didn't.
That front three last night, Guedes, Diego Costa and Daniel Podence. We had, I think it was 23 shots during the game. It may have been more at the end of 90 minutes, but we just didn't test the keeper at all, did we, Jeffo?
No, and I think a lot of the problems that we saw under Bruno Lage are probably still there, and I think we've still got a hangover of his managerial reign with breaking teams down, with being too slow, and our speed and build-up has been laboured again, and I think it just shows that the scale of the task that Julian Lopetegui's got to turn it around for a team who are struggling for confidence and struggling to play progressive football and are trying to get off the bottom of the table.
Obviously, you weren't punished, Michael, like us having to go and watch that game last night. But what's your sort of thoughts on Wolves generally over the last sort of 12 months?
To be honest with you, I don't know that much about the last 12 months. I haven't been taking that much notice. The Wolves have been too busy trying to concentrate on Everton. Us staying up, obviously, last year was a big relief. But I think we're both similar, aren't we? I don't think the table. I don't think we should be where we are on the table. A couple of wins and we move up. So we'll see. Obviously, you've just lost your manager and that. So
obviously, Everton went out in the last round to Bournemouth. Bournemouth got knocked out by Newcastle. Wolves are in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. Tom, Man City play Liverpool tomorrow night. That's another one of the big teams out. How far can you see us going based on last night's performance?
Oh, mate, I'm booking my tickets for Wembley, mate. It's written in the stars, yeah. It's going to happen.
The arches are in the distance.
Yeah, I think so. I, as long as we get a favourable draw, I think the semi-finals are reasonable. Some where we can do it. I don't see why not. I mean, getting all the way to a final, even with the teams that are still there. Most of the teams who went through last night are all Premier League, so it's all going to be a matter of what team they put out and how seriously they want to take it. And I think that's where it depends on how we do getting back into this season. If we're still struggling, Julian might have to put a weaker team out just to focus on league results. But as I say, a lot of it depends on how we start this weekend against Everton. If we get a favourable result, or we can see the tide starting to change a little bit, and then maybe we can focus on trying to get some silverware as well, because that'd be fantastic. We've not had a long time.
We've got Stu J4Z in the comment section. The attacking players at this club are not even championship playoff level. January can't come soon enough. Obviously, Everton lost Richarlison in the summer. Calvert-Lewin's been sort of suffering with injuries. Are you seeing any sort of possible movement from Everton in January in regards to incomings in the attacking areas?
We definitely needed a striker similar to yourselves. We're struggling massively. Good play up until the final third, and then we just haven't got a goal scorer. Calvert-Lewin can't keep himself fit. Maupay, he's done okay. Scored a couple of goals, but I still think we needed a full out-and-out striker similar to yourself. But I haven't got a clue who we're going to get. Even though I'm back working at the club, I have been for 4 years now, but we don't get to know anything.
Raul Jimenez bagged from the spot last night, Tom. He looked more livelier than what Diego Costa did in that first 75 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the front three that started were god awful, to be honest. Pedence and Guedes they were just terrible. It's really frustrating because Guedes looked like he turned a bit of a corner, but he didn't look bothered last night. I mean, I don't know if it's we keep saying he's better playing behind the striker. He was pushed out wide again, and he was terrible. And then Pedence, I can't believe he stayed on the pitch for as long as he did. I can't remember him completing a pass of any note. Fans were clamouring for him to be in that number 10 role. He was putting that number 10 role in the second half, and he was even worse. He couldn't even, as I say, break down a Gillingham back line. So I think his time's up. I think almost. I think he can't be a starter for us anymore. He just doesn't. He's just not consistent enough. He'll have one good game in every three, and it's just not. It's not what we need. We need consistency now. But yeah, Raul and Huang, to be fair, I thought they made a difference when they came on. It's nice to see him looking sharp, to be fair.
Huang has definitely made a difference since, he made a big difference for South Korea in the World Cup, obviously scoring the goal that got them through the group stage. But he has come back in the two fixtures that we had in Marbella, and he has looked very lively. He looks fit for once, to me, and he made a big difference. He set up the second goal last night for Ryan out Norwich, FR.
Yeah, he come on, he brought energy to the team, and you know what you're going to get when Huang plays. You know you're going to get somebody who can run with the ball. He's progressive in his movement. He gets into the channel, and he's running at defenders, which is something that we weren't doing last night. And like you said, Tom, we were trying to pass the ball through a brick wall, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't break him down. And Huang, as you've seen over the last few months, done great for Korea, and the documentary that came out about him, you can really see that he's adapting to life in the UK with the fact that he's learning English and it's improving, and he's feeling like he's part of the club a little bit more now, which is good. And it's because it's always hard for anyone to come over from like Germany or something like that and not know the language, and he's the only Korean lad there as well. So it's got to be difficult for him to integrate, but it's nice to see that he's part of the team and he's starting to get an upturn in his performance, which is hopefully going to result in more goals and more assists. What we saw last night for the Nuri goal.
So obviously you can see on the screen there, Jimenez scoring from the penalty spot, and Ryan Out, we're making it 2-0. Based on the fact that we've got Everton away on Saturday, Tom, 3:00, Everton's sort of lacking in the goal threat areas similar to us. Would you start Jimenez over Diego Costa, or I am seeing a sort of a clamour for both of them to start and maybe changing the formation in some way?
I don't think I'll start both of them. Not for me. Although they did have a couple of nice link-ups yesterday. If you're going to put two up front, I'd be probably trying Guedes behind maybe Raul, or Huang potentially. Behind Raul. But I think I probably would edge towards Raul actually, just purely based on last night. Even if he's got 45 minutes, and if he's not working, you can hook him for Costa, but. Costa hasn't looked like scoring since he's joined us, has he? Really he had that really good chance against Palace, and that's about it. Puts himself about, a bit of a bully, but it doesn't look like he's going to be scoring the goals that we're going to need. So I'd edge probably towards Raul.
He just looks massively off the pace, doesn't he, Diego Costa? He looks like he's starting to look his age, but the fact that he had so much time out when he was playing in Brazil to play in his first competitive game for us, it just looks like it's finally caught up with him. There was times last night where he struggled to get into a sprint. I mean, and you're not
Yeah.
talking to like, I mean, I can't even think of like a fast centre back in the Premier League off the top of my head, like a proper rapid one, like, like Kyle Walker rapid. Gillingham did not have a player half Kyle Walker's pace last night. Diego Costa was not causing them any troubles. So when we had sort of Diego Costa playing centre forward and we had Podence and Guedes, who I don't think put a good ball in the box all night. Nelson Semedo's crossing was just terrible. I don't know how Nelson Semedo has become this bad of a footballer. It's mind-boggling. One of the players that I'll be missing on Saturday, Branch, is Connor Cody.
Yeah.
Big hero, was still a massive love for the guy. He's going to be a big blow for you because he's solid footballer, but he just brings everything together. He's the glue, isn't he?
Well, without a doubt, the change he's brought to our squad and our team, it's been amazing. Be a massive miss for us. Scored the winner, obviously, against us last year, didn't he, for us?
Yeah, bullet header.
What?
Bullet header.
Yeah. But we'll miss him. We will miss him. But you can just see the leadership in him from day one. You just knew he was a leader and got everyone going. Gets the back line sorted. But we're not bad at the back. We're quite solid, to be honest with you. And we hopefully Godfrey will come back in, or maybe Holgate. So we'll be okay at the back. It's just going forward where we struggle.
Yeah, obviously Tarkowski was a good signing for you in the summer. Was it free transfer? Was it that?
I think so. Yeah. He's been amazing as well. I think he's got like twice as many blocks than anyone else in the Premiership. He just throws himself in front of everything. Them two are just solid. But we'll be okay at the back on Saturday.
What have Everton played many fixtures during the break?
I think they went away to Australia. I think we won a cup in Australia, but I think that was on pens. And then, as I say, we had a behind closed door game today against Villa, which we won 2-0. Gordon and Mopai. So Gordon needed a little break, so I'm glad the World Cup come for him at the time. So hopefully he'll be back to his best.
Yeah, obviously Anthony Gordon's probably going to be like your main threat, isn't he, in the attacking areas. Obviously got linked to Chelsea in the summer, but there's talks of a new contract for him. Yeah,
I think so. I mean, he got dropped the last few games before the break. His form really dipped, so we'll see what Gordon turns up. But he's a great player on his day. You know what I mean? He's unplayable, but just needs to get back to the way he was last year.
Young Joe Arge started last night, Tom. What did you make of his performance? Do you think he's a possibility to start again on Saturday?
I sort of hope not really. He was all right. He was fine. He was only worse than the rest of them. But yeah, I think for me, I want Nunes back in there. I think, again, he was one that sort of made a difference. And again, it's really unfortunate. I just think, again, Martino is just really, really not the player he was. And I think he as much as I love him, he can't be starting games consistently for us anymore. He just doesn't offer enough. I mean, he's not even taking off set pieces anymore. So he really is offering very little. He can't get, there's no goals in him either. So I want to see Nunes back in. I think Boubacar Traoré is 50-50, isn't it? But if I had the choice, we're playing three. Those are the three I'd play. I'd play Traoré, Neves, and Nunes for me.
Yeah, Boubacar Traoré's got an apparent groin issue, which puts him in a doubt for Saturday. Johnny Otto may be in the squad, but even with how bad Semedo's been, Jeff, I wouldn't be sort of clamouring for Johnny to be starting, would you?
No, it's one of those. It's a bit stuck between a rock and a hard place with the right backs at the moment. Neither of them are in any good form, and Johnny just doesn't seem like the same player since this was his second ACL injury, wasn't it? So it's hard to come back after one and be the same as effective player as you were, but to have two of the same injury in such a short period of time after you've recovered from your first, it's difficult. I don't think there's many the players who were injured who weren't involved last night. I think the only one I'd be looking at is Boubacar, like you said, Tom. I think he's the only one who could make the difference. And it's just whether he comes through that 50-50 period. That's the problem with where the squad is at the moment. I think we haven't got enough players, and I think this has been the problem for the last couple of years. Is we haven't got the players to bring in who can change the game, and building that squad and building quality over quantity has always been a problem. but now that they know where we are in the table, people are going to be looking to overcharge us, potentially like what's happened with the transfer that hopefully we'll go through in the next couple of days with Cunha.
Yeah, it does seem a big transfer fee that's being discussed, Tom. 40 million. Is it 40, I don't know whether it's 40 million euro, 40 million pound, either way, regardless of the currency, it does seem a lot of money for a striker that's statistically not very prolific.
Yeah, I think we've overpaid, but I think we were always going to, weren't we? I think teams know that we're in desperate states now, so I think we've almost got to suck it up and do it. It did surprise me that it's an obligation, and particularly that it goes through even if we were to get relegated, which just seems bizarre that we'd be spending 40 million on a player, in between, relegation. However, I do think that's Uncle George will help us out on the sale on that one. I think he'll be in and then straight out, Phobie style. I think if we were to go down, but I think there's cause to be optimistic. I know stats aren't. I think say stats. If you look actually into his stats, he's barely started any games. He hasn't started one game this season. I know he hasn't scored, but I think he's started less than the equivalent of what 4 games would be basically. So I think he's played about 390 minutes, something like that. I think last season he didn't start that much either. I don't know if he's the goal scorer that maybe we need. I've got half a feeling that I might still try and get another centre forward in, and he could play off the centre forward, but again, time will tell. If Lopetegui wants him, I'm all for it.
Are you much of Matheus Cunha, Branchy?
No, not really.
No, I mean, Atletico Madrid strike. I mean, you can't be a mug, can you, if you've made it to Atletico Madrid? But when you've got players like João Felix who can't even start games, who's ahead of you in the pecking order, what chance have you got? With say 40 million pound, we've been had over a barrel, haven't we, Jeffo, with that transfer fee? But like Tom said, bottom of the league, one of the lowest scorers in the English pyramid. Never mind the Premier League. We've got to buy a striker, haven't we?
It's true. It's a hell of a lot of money. I'm just hoping it's the Raul Jimenez situation again, and where we bought a striker who has a below average scoring record and comes in and absolutely dominates the league. That's what we've really got to hope for. I think, like Tom was saying as well about spending a lot of money. We're definitely in the same situation as Newcastle were last winter, and they had to spend 45 million on Bruno Guimaraes, and that's the figure. That's the figures that we've got to talk to spend to stay in the league. Then that's what we've got to do. And I think Stu is talking about it in the group chat about the years of frivolous Fosun, or was it you, Dan, about frivolous Fosun? And now you're all for letting the handbrake off and spending money if it means we stay in the league. And I think that's where we are. I think we can't afford to get relegated. It would ruin the whole project, and the amount of players that would leave would put us back 4 or 5 years, and we wouldn't be able to come. I don't think we'd bounce straight back.
Based on what you mentioned a moment ago about being in the same position as Newcastle, out of the teams around us, who potentially out there should we be trying to poach like Newcastle did with sort of Dan Burn and Matt Targett? And is there anyone else in the Premier League that you think we should be getting, Branchy?
I'm not sure. I mean, we're in the same boat as you. We're not scoring any goals. We need a striker desperately. So if you've got any ideas, let us know.
Yeah, you got Neil Maupay in the summer, didn't you? I think he's a good high pressure striker, but he's just not prolific, is he? He gets in the right areas. The one moment that I remember him for Everton this season, he had a massive chance against Liverpool, didn't he? Which Alisson made a good save from. But has he actually scored in the league for Everton yet? Yeah,
he scored one, the winner against. He scored the winner against someone. Decent finish, to be fair, great goal, but he's just not getting the chances. He doesn't get the service, to be fair. He needs someone else up there with him.
Without sort of going down the old cliche about, the most football games are the one, the battle of the midfield. Obviously, Idrissa Gueye came back in the summer also.
Yeah.
I assume he'll be fit on Saturday. Him coming up against Ruben Neves should be a tasty battle.
Yeah, that'll be really good. He's made a big difference in the middle for us, to be fair. He was a crowd favourite before he went to PSG. Now he's come back. I don't know whether who else have we got in the middle there who was injured, might be coming back. No. But yeah, it'd be a good little battle in there because obviously Nunes is a player, isn't he?
That's it, yeah. Matheus Cunha, Ruben Neves on the back of the World Cup. Don't think either of them had the World Cup that they wanted. There was one comment in the WhatsApp group that Ruben Neves lost about £20 million worth of his transfer value on the back of that World Cup. So he needs to put in a captain's performance again on Saturday because it's a must-win, isn't it, Tom? Everton beat us on Saturday. They're 7 points ahead of us. We win with 1 point behind. Probably may take us off the bottom of the league if we was to get a win on Saturday. So Saturday's huge, isn't it?
It's huge. Oh, must win. Maybe definitely can't lose it. I don't think we can lose it. I think it just going into January, 7 points adrift just isn't an option really. Would I take a draw? Maybe. I'd take a draw with a decent performance, maybe. But yeah, I agree. We can't afford to lose it.
What's the general mindset around Everton branch? I know you do a bit of work for the club, like in sort of in the community sort of thing. What's the mindset around the club? What's the feeling towards Lampard? Is he still got a lot of confidence from the fans on the back of last season, or
I've worked full time at the club in the community. I've done now for, as I said, 4 years. But no, he's still got the fans. The fans still love him, the majority anyway. I like him. I think give him time. We've went through that many managers in the last few years. We just need to give someone time. Staying up last year was a big bonus. We thought we'd kick on this year. It hasn't quite happened, but give them time. We'll be okay.
Based on the fact that you sold Richarlison, they haven't really backed him massively, have they?
No, he hasn't. He had one transfer window, didn't he, beginning of the season? Given this one, let's hope he gets a bit more money. Every other manager's had money thrown at him, but doesn't seem to be getting it at the minute.
Yeah, a lot of chickens have come home to roost, haven't they, with the poor recruitment over the years at Everton.
Yeah,
it would be as disastrous for you guys if you was to get relegated like us. We'd obviously be that new stadium being built by the Docks.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. So we've got one more season after this at Goodison. So we can't have our last season in the Championship. It'd be a nightmare.
It'd be disastrous. So imagine starting like your first season in the Championship at your new stadium with no soul to it. That'd be horrible, wouldn't it? Yeah. I've said it numerous times. I genuinely fear for Wolves if we get relegated this season that we could go back to back because of the toxicity that usually follows Wolves when we start getting into a bad run of form.
Yeah.
Do you feel we're out of 10, Jeffo? How confident are you? How confident are you that we're going to stay up this season?
Well, to be fair, I'm probably still around about 7 because I really do trust Julian Lopetegui. But that could wildly change depending on what we do in the January transfer window. If we don't bring in the quality that we need to improve what after we saw last night, and we don't see the change in results and the change in performance over the next couple of games, then that 7's going to drop real quick to like a 3 or a 4.
Ian Darby in the comments section. We played Monday, lads. I'm sorry. It's just Saturdays for the football, eh? But yeah, Ian's right. Boxing Day on Monday, 3 p.m. Everton versus Wolves.
Yeah.
We've just discussed about the imminent arrival of Matheus Cunha, initially on loan with an obligation. Michael, you know all about hitting the ground running at Wolves, signing on loan. Colin Lee got you sort of the early noughties. Scoring, I think it was 4 in 9 on your loan spell, 2 on your own debut against Man City.
Yeah.
Do you remember how the deal came about? How Colin Lee obviously brought you in. You'd favourite Everton, but do you remember the talks and then visiting Molyneux for the first time?
Let me think about it. I remember falling out. It was Walter Smith, the Everton manager, and we'd either fallen out or I just fell out of favour. And I knew Wolves were quite interested, and I spoke to Conley, and I really liked them. Went down to Wolves, seeing it, obviously loved it, and then obviously hit the ground running, like you said. Couldn't have asked for a better debut. I think I had a chance for my hat-trick as well. I remember Baisley whipping one across, and I just couldn't get on the end of it. That would have been perfect. Live on Sky as well, Friday night.
See, I did listen to your episode on the 10th Point podcast, which was really enjoyable, and there's a good story. Any of the viewers out there, go and listen to this podcast. But tell us about how Kevin Muscat was your best mate at Wolves.
Oh yeah, he was like my best mate on the pitch. He's an animal, isn't he? He's crazy.
Branchy, calling him an animal He's modest. He's something out of a different world. He's an evil movie character, isn't he? On the football pitch.
Remember the one challenge he done against his mate from Australia who played for Birmingham?
Oh, was it Stan Lazaridis?
Yeah, but he stood right on his back. He was his mate.
Yeah.
I was just breaking through at Everton, and I think I was 17. And Muzzy had just come over from Australia, and he was on loan or a 1-year contract at Crystal Palace, and I was getting talked about as being the next big thing in the Premiership because I was the youngest to play in there. So I said to myself, there's this lad, a young kid playing for Everton. I'm going to make a name for myself. I'm going to break his leg. And he said, it was you, but I couldn't get close enough to you to break your leg. It's like, what the hell? He's just not right in the head.
But off the pitch, absolutely a great guy to be around.
Oh, nicest fella. I didn't do anything for you. But just once he steps on that pitch, just switches. And he could do this thing. He could whistle, but it sounded like the referee's whistle. So sometimes people would be running and I'd stop and he'd go, carry on. Because I was like, what's going on? When I was playing right wing and he was on right back. But yeah, he's true to his word. I mean, a few times he's got in it with players and he said, watch what happens next time we play. And next time we play, the lad gets stretched off. Just like, thank God he's my mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, he's a cult hero at Molineux, isn't he, Jeffo?
Oh, I loved watching Kevin Muscat play.
Yeah.
There's not many games where, like you say, he was full blooded challenges. Yeah. Everything was left on that pitch, and it's you don't get footballers like that anymore. And to look back, and it's great, isn't it, to go back and think about these players.
I told my son to go and watch the clips of him on YouTube, and he was like, "No way, Dad! How could he get away with that?"
He'd have a lifetime ban now with VAR. What else do you remember from your time at Wolves, Branchy? Obviously, you played with some big characters. Keith Curl was captain around the time, I think. You played Steve Sedgley. Steve Sedgley was in midfield, and apparently he was just a nightmare on the training ground for antics and pranks.
Oh, listen, I think I was 20 when I signed all that. So, and I'm quite quiet. So Sedge is right on me because I'm quiet. So he's trying to embarrass me and all that. And I remember one time there was all bats next to each other in the old Molineux changing rooms. So I'm in one bath after the game. He's in the next one. And then he's going just talking to me. And he's gone, have you got a light? And I've gone, what? And he's just got a cigar there asking for a light. I'm like, what is going on? Room with Keith Curl, first time. He's cracked open like some beers and smoking before the game the night before. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, the old school, you know what I mean?
Proper old school. I've heard stories about him.
Keith Curl was the fittest man him and Muscat were the fittest on the team. But I was like, what's going on here?
Probably just too twisted in the head to realise them tired, maybe. I don't know what it is. I heard a story about Steve Sedgley eating urinal cakes and shitting in the bath. I heard he was a complete wrong one. Yeah. Steve Sedgley. Wrong one. I did do a sort of informal quiz. You love my quizzes, don't you, Jeffo?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to play you one video where Michael Branch, his last goal.
Finding the gaps there. Very well equipped. Branch! Michael Branch has put Wolves level. There's a lovely ball inside by Tinning and a wonderful finish by Branch. Perfectly into the corner.
Younger there, Branch.
No, back in the day. How big are them shirts?
That was your last goal at Molineux, and that was February 2001. I'm going to ask Jeffo and Tom, who was his strike partner that day?
2001.
Yeah. 2001 season.
2001.
Like, is it someone terrible like Robert Taylor? Someone like that?
He was terrible, but that's not the correct answer, Jeffo.
I'm going to get it mildly wrong, so I always get my years mixed up. So I guess somebody like Court.
Nah, a bit after that. Michael, do you remember?
No. I see Proudlock there then and not celebrating, but he wasn't his strike partner then.
Yeah, he was Adam Proudlock that day.
Was he? Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
1-1 draw at home to Gillingham, February 2001. Adam Proud locking yourself up front.
Didn't he do well? He did well at first, didn't he, Proudy?
Yeah, obviously he came through the academy, ended up being a Tranmere legend.
Yeah.
We already mentioned your 2 goals against Man City. Wolves won 4-1 that day. But who scored the other 2 goals? Tom?
Jeez. Oh, you came to me first last time.
I know, but Jeff, I was going to say Steve Bull and get the years wrong again.
Give me the year. Give me the year.
I think it would have been the same. So it would have
99.
been
99.
2000, yeah.
99 strikers.
Somebody mad like Cedric Roussel.
Yeah, he's a bit late, I think. Is it someone like
Don't think it was a-
Patalainen? Someone terrible again?
No,
That's some bad strikers.
think of a beast of a striker. In regards to
Adib Akinbaye.
Adi Akinbaye got the first.
Player.
Nice.
And
Who's
we've already spoke about him. Kevin Muscat got the second.
Did he, yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
Michael obviously got the other 2 that day.
Adi was a great fella, though.
Yeah, I do. He was quite a nice bloke away from
Big
the
gentle
pitch,
giant.
but
Big gentle giant.
he sort of his mind switched as soon as he crossed the white line, didn't he?
Yeah. I'd get changed next to him, and he'd get the team sheet, and he'd go to me, "Who do you want me to get today?" Like anyone, Adi, anyone.
It was sad to see how his career sort of faltered after leaving Wolves, because it was amazing for Wolves. He was unplayable at times.
Yeah, it was great.
I remember the 3 of us playing up front one time. We played a 3 against West Brom. It was Nadar, Adi, and me. And it was like, wow.
I wanted to ask you about George and Dar, Michael, because obviously you saw him before he had his leg break. How good was George and Dar for you?
Yeah, he was really good. You know, he was brilliant. It was a shame what happened to him. He's never to play it again. And
Who would have won in the race between you and George, Mike?
me.
Were you that rapid compared to George and Dar?
Yeah. No, I'm not joking. I don't know. It would have been close, but he was another
Like
lovely
yourself,
fella.
yeah.
Yeah, always.
Obviously got a bit of sentimental value with Wolves, Michael. You had your 1 England under-21 cap at Molineux against
Okay.
Poland.
Was it out at Molineux? Jeez.
Well, according to Transfer Marketing Wikipedia, yeah.
Yeah.
You replaced Emil Heskey that day. He finished 0-0.
No, yeah.
I'm going to ask you. I'm not sure whether you'll know this. I'm going to ask all 3 of you. Which former Wolves player played right wing for England that game? And I'm talking 1996 here, Jeffo. Was
I'm
the
fucked.
that was the
asking
England
me.
under 21 game, but he played for Wolves about 6 years after. So say 2001 to 2006.
I know.
Sean Newton.
Sean Newton.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I've got something for the first time in my life.
I had to give you like a good year path.
Yeah, that's it. I'm clipping that. That's going straight. I'm tagging that on every social. That's the first time I've ever got a question right on a quiz. Let's go.
We had the obvious Twitter corner question, which I know you answered on the 10th point podcast, Mike. The goal against Nottingham Forest. It's on the screen for the viewers here. Look at that lineup there. Michael Oakes, Muscat, Curl, Pollard, Naylor, Baisley, Emblem, Sedgley, Sinton, and up front we've had Akinbaye. What do you remember about this goal? That's just about to show on the screen. The question was, what did Dave Besant say to you?
I can't remember. I was just off running.
Lee Naylor got absolutely side by Matthew Louis John. The ball gets played through to Dave Besant. He absolutely shanks one out towards the throw-in. Michael conveniently doesn't realise he's trying to kick it out and absolutely slots it past the big man to make it, I think it may have been 3-0 at the time. There was a bit of need in the game that day. Akinbaye got sent off. Darren Baisley scored a wonder goal with his left foot. But great finish.
Yeah, it was. Kick it out to play next time.
Let's see.
Play to the whistle.
Through one goal, slotted in front of the North Bank. Dave
Besant. I remember we had to go and play them away at their place then that season or the next season. Oh, the abuse I got there. It's a nightmare. Oh, I was dreading it all season, this sickly in my stomach, and then it went well though.
Do you think it affected you that when you went there the next season? Do you think that affected your game at all, or is it something you just brush off as a professional footballer?
I think I played in 2 derbies, so Liverpool, Everton, so it wasn't going to be any worse than that. But that week leading up to it, it wasn't a nice feeling knowing didn't get much sleep knowing what I was going to get when I got there. But everyone rallied around me, all the team, and then the manager was sound. But yeah, it's one of those things. Got to get on with it.
What do you remember during your last season at Wolves? Obviously, you had a falling out with Dave Jones, you mentioned on the other podcast.
Yeah, we just fell out. I don't know what we fell out over. So his first season, when he come through the season, I got Player of the Year that year. And then he was talking about a new contract. But I'd moved on out to sort of the right of a 3. So I'm on holiday, and then I see that we've just signed Sean Newton for like 7 million or something, or whatever much it was. So he's taking my place, and we just fell out after that sort of thing. And surprised because he's a scouser as well, and he got me training on my own. I probably didn't help myself with my attitude towards him, and just one of those. It was left in the doldrums the right away.
Do you remember much of that last season? Because obviously Wolves had a massive collapse, which we don't like to talk about much on this channel. Obviously West Brom beat us to promotion that season, I think. But I think Kevin Muscat got sent off against Grimsby at home. And we completely collapsed. Do you remember much of the dressing room vibe at the time? Because we were top of the league for a good.
No, I don't remember it though, because I wouldn't have been involved in it that much. I went on loan to Reading, I think, for a bit. And then obviously I wasn't in the first team squad, or I was training with the reserves. Would have been Lescott and that playing then, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Obviously, Joey Lescott went on to join Everton later on in his career. How good was he at Wolves for you? And did you realise he was going to go on to that sort of high play for England and whatnot?
Yeah, he was really good. I mean, when he first come in, what was the coach called? Terry Connor, is it?
Yeah.
So Terry Connor would have me and him. He'd want to be working with Joe all the time, and every day after training, he'd have me doing one-on-ones with him, like every day. And he just got better and better, like from month to month. I just knew he was going to be good.
Apart from sort of Adam Proudlock and Adi Akinbaye, what do you remember your other strike partners at the time? Was Havard Flow there when you first joined?
He was, but I don't think I ever played with him that much. Must have been injured, but he was a big unit, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get a French striker in as well?
I think you just mentioned Cedric Roussel, didn't you, Jeffo?
Yeah, Belgian lad, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, Belgium, so yeah.
Yeah, he don't do a lot though for Wolves, but yeah, I think we went through a period of signing a lot of players around that £1 million mark for strikers during that time, and it was difficult because say a lot of the guys who we bought hadn't really played a lot of football in England before, and adapting's hard, isn't it? Yeah,
definitely. I can't remember because I never really had a main one. It was me and Addy when I first started, and we had a good connection. But from then, it was just chopping and changing all the time.
You mentioned to me earlier on that you had your Christmas party earlier. Do you remember any of your Christmas parties at Wolves?
I remember we went on them. I can't remember much about them.
Sign of a good party, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tom, Jeff, have you got any questions for Branchy before we finish?
Mine was the Forest one. Yeah.
Everyone asked me that one.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah.
Okay, a weird one. So, which part of your career would you say is your best memory?
Oh, good question. Obviously, the beginning at Everton, making my debut in Old Trafford and that.
Being a boiled Evertonian was that was huge for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course. I've been at the club since I was like 8, and then made my debut, and now I'm back there again. I've got a meeting with our CEO tomorrow about a new role, so hopefully that'll go well. That's why also I had to get home early, so I'm nice and fresh for tomorrow. And then, but me beginning at Wolves, I really enjoyed it because I'd gone from being in a city like Liverpool that you just can't get away from football, and being this young kid who was supposed to be doing all this, and then it didn't work out. And it was just like a fresh start, and I could get away from all the fishbowl that is Liverpool. And obviously, I hit the ground running straight away at Wolves with the 2 goals, so the crowd got right behind me. I enjoyed it. I would probably say that first year at Wolves.
Did you? How highly did you rate them on your atmosphere? That sort of Friday night against Man City must have been rocking.
Yeah, Friday night games are always good, isn't it? remember coming back and playing against Wolves for Chester. Lescott was marking me then, actually. But I used to love playing under the lights. Whenever I hear that song, I still get the butterfly feelings. My hair stand up on my arms. But what we run out to.
You talked about playing in Liverpool, Everton derbies. What were your thoughts on the Wolves Albion derby?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realise how big they were until I got here. I remember us beating them 3-0 once. I think it was a Sunday game on Sky or something. And that was amazing. The atmosphere there. Brilliant.
That's Ludo Pollard, isn't it? Is it Ludo's goal late on, I think?
Would have been, yeah.
Yeah.
Jordan
What a player he was as well.
He
He used to put his head on anything.
Yeah, he was a legend.
Yeah.
He played more games with his head bandaged than without.
That sounds like Ludo. He was like that in training as well. I used to keep away from him.
Yeah. He was on another podcast the other week, and his English was like terrible. They had to have a translator in it. But do you remember him speaking much English at the time?
I think he just spoke it whenever he wanted to. We just pretended he didn't speak, so we didn't have to speak to anyone.
I'm going to put you all on the spot here. The worst part of the show, and especially going to be bad for you, Michael, because you're on a Wolves YouTube channel. I know you ain't going to give us the answer you want, but score predictions for Monday, Boxing Day, 3:00. Tom, Everton, Wolves.
1-1.
Jeffo.
2-2.
We're scoring 2. Are you serious?
Sorry, I've had a drink tonight.
Michael, with your talk tomorrow with the Everton CEO, what's your score prediction for Everton Wolves?
It's got to be 2-0 Everton. Sorry, boys.
Because
I'm back there. I'm back working there. I can't.
Branch is going 2-0 Everton. I'm going to go with 2-0 Wolves. I think the tide starts to turn on Monday, and I fancy Jimenez to bag again because he loves scoring against Everton. I think it might be 6 in his last 6 against Everton now. So hopefully we can both get back. Well, we can get back to winning ways. Worst case scenario, we come away with a draw because of defeat would absolutely ruin my Boxing Day, and I reckon I'm probably going to be ongoing from Christmas Day anyway.
Are you coming up for the game?
I'll be there, yeah. I'll be there, travelling up at 9:00 in the morning, so we've got time for a few drinks if you're about.
I am about tomorrow. Drop us a little message.
Will do. Thanks for coming on, Branchy. Obviously,
No
appreciate your time at Wolves. We'll always remember the goals against Man City, and definitely everyone will always remember that goal against Nottingham Forest. Thanks to Tom and Jeff for joining us tonight on the Wolves Fancast. This episode was brought to you by 90min.com and Pixel Yeti Media. We'll be back on Tuesday with another podcast reviewing the Everton Wolves game, where hopefully we've got the win. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Christmas. If I don't see you, have a happy New Year.